Marvel has been desperate to find a way to make money and to win their older fans back. People who have nostalgia, who would love for the MCU to be great again, but unfortunately they have consistently dropped the ball. But they were looking back in the vault at what characters can we bring out, what characters can we make movies on, and they decided Blade was going to be a great idea. And while a lot of people were initially very excited for this movie, it's been in development hell for a couple of years, but now we're hearing that the troubled Blade script reportedly had morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So I wanted to start off with this Bounding into Comics article. It says the Trouble Blade film starring Mahershala Ali from Marvel Studios reportedly morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. And not only did one script turn into this, but Mahershala reportedly was ready to leave the project entirely due to script issues. Now, I love Blade. I'm sure a lot of you out there love Blade, and we were all, I think, initially pretty excited to hear that they were doing this. Of course, it's been quite a while since we've gotten anything Blade related. And, I just think that there is a lot of love and nostalgia there, but at the same time, there were a lot of ways that they could mess this up. Look, Blade was Marvel's first real superhero movie, and it was pretty freaking good. So I think that they, from the beginning, needed to be very careful with, casting, with directors, with writers, with producers, and they needed from the start to really hone in on what made it special, because it was the start to what we have now. Of course, then after Blade came X-Men and Spider-Man, and the rest is history, but it's important that they got this right for a slew of different reasons. I mean, even DC's movies that came before were panned, like Spawn, Judge Dredd, Batman and Robin. Obviously, I could sit here all day and list them off and go into a deep dive, but looking at Marvel, Blade was major for them. It released off the back of many other failed superhero movies, and part of the success was because of how giant Wesley Snipes already was. I mean, he was already a major action star, so many people probably saw it simply because of him. Would it have been as popular if he wasn't in it? It's hard to say, but there was just a lot that they needed to get right when going into a, reboot of Blade here. And we all were very worried. We all had a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. And over the past year or so, we have gotten a lot of, unfortunately, bad information that they had picked writers who now we're hearing wanted to morph it into basically a feminist movie. We had heard that the directors were just not really meshing with people on set. The lead actor, Mahershala, was allegedly ready to leave the movie and leave the production altogether. But it may finally be coming together, though it says this recent report comes from Variety's Tatiana Siegel, who claims one person familiar with the script permutations say the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. Ah, yes. Instead of watching a movie about a vampire hunter, you know what I'm really hoping they'll put in this movie? Feminism, narratives led by women, filled with life lessons. Oh, that's just exactly what I want in this movie. Said literally nobody ever. If they even had a full script, they deserve to be fired, okay? Because you should know 5 minutes into writing it that this isn't what was going to go over well with audiences. She added Blade was relegated to the fourth lead. Not one, not two, not even three, but the fourth lead. That is just insane to think about. And it was detailed that Ali was actually ready to exit over script issues, which is just so kind of sad to hear because he is a very good actor. And I do think, based off of his track record, he will do pretty good in this movie. But at the same time, I understand that even with this casting, people are criticizing it simply because he is a little bit on the older side. They obviously had to replace the great Wesley Snipes, and he's so fantastic, so it was already pretty hard to do. And this actor is, slightly older. I mean, he's 49. It's not that old, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's too old or anything, but Wesley Snipes was 35 when he, played Blade for the first time. So there is quite a bit of an age difference there. I mean, obviously, we don't need a 22-year-old playing this role, but he is a good actor, and I'm sure that he's going to do a fantastic job in this. But hearing that he was ready to exit simply because they could not get this project together, I think would have infuriated more people than the few people who were criticizing him because of his age. I don't think his age is an issue, but it says the Blade movie was initially announced back in 2019 when he was brought on stage at the Hall H stage at San Diego Comic-Con, and then he said, "I want to leave you today with one more thing that I don't think has been rumored about, ladies and gentlemen," and then Kevin Feige had brought him out, and then he had just said, "Blade." Yeah, I mean, this is a movie that even though we've heard is in development hell, I think we all wanted to turn out well, but this is not the first rumor that we have heard surrounding the alleged nightmare that this movie has faced. Rumors and reports had begun to surface back in September of 2022 about how unhappy he was with the script, and a scooper, Jeff Snyder, had shared on Twitter, "I'm told that the current Blade script is roughly 90 pages and features exactly 2 lackluster action sequences." It just truly seems like they had no idea what Blade was, what people would want out of another Blade movie. I mean, Blade is about killing vampires, and this sounds like they went full Castlevania Nocturne. I mean, hopefully now that they've ditched the people who came up with this original concept, the new one will be way better, but it's still pretty worrying that those were the people who were hired, who got to write scripts, who were going to, be part of this project until the lead actor said, "Enough is enough, I'm out if this is the direction you're going in." We were also told that Mahershala was said to be very frustrated. Feige said to be spread too thin, but hey, that's just what sources are telling me. And then it would be revealed on the same day that Marvel was parting ways with the director. A Marvel spokesman informed The Hollywood Reporter, due to continued shifts in our production schedule, he is no longer moving forward as the director. And then, after that, in November of last year, YouTuber Overlord DVD shared a rumor that claimed to reveal why he was no longer the director, and the reason why he quit was due to frustration over how bad the script was. I mean, it seemed like everybody that was part of this, except for, I guess, the higher-ups who greenlit it and the writer themselves, everyone hated this script. Nobody wanted to be affiliated with the dumpster fire that this movie was going to be. And unfortunately, over the past few months, we weren't even sure if this was going to go forward, because we've heard several times that Kevin Feige actually wanted to pull the plug on it, that it was racking up in cost. You still have to pay writers even if you don't use their script. A lot of things were, being pushed back with the schedule, so they weren't sure exactly when they were going to release it. It just seemed like behind the scenes that this movie was in development hell. But now, that they've hired newer writers, it seems like the confidence has been boosted behind the scenes with actors and producers. Maybe this will actually turn out to be really good. I obviously want it to be good. I don't want content to come out and be bad. I want things to come out and be great and just be amazing. But unfortunately, I've lost a lot of confidence in Marvel, but they have a lot riding on this, and there's a lot that they have to do right here. Again, Blade was Marvel's first real superhero movie, and it was good, so it set the bar pretty high, and they need to be careful and really hone in on what made it very special and why people to this day still talk about the Blade films and why they're so good and why people love them so much. Aside from just, oh, hey, it's one of the best things that Wesley Snipes did, but hearing that it reportedly morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons is most certainly not what I or anyone else want out of a Blade movie. I do not want feminism crammed into every single piece of content I watch, and this just proves how correct South Park and the Panderverse were. Put a woman in it, make her lame, make her gay. I mean, come on. This is not what you would think of when you say Blade. You don't instantly think of, narratives led by women filled with life lessons. Nobody wants that crap. And I'm glad that this got absolutely canned. I hope that the people who are part of the project now actually know what fans want, actually know how to write good content. But unfortunately, this movie is still surrounded in a bit of controversy. It still is kind of in development hell until we get first teasers and trailers. A lot is up in the air with this movie at this point, but it at least is good to hear that they did get rid of the writers and the people behind the project that actually were putting this movie forward into a modern world, a modern take on Blade. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.